The Educator Effectiveness Committee is now called to order. May I please have a roll call?
Ms. Lottie Beebe? Present. Ms. Beebe is present. Ms. Bofi? Present. Ms. Bofi is present. Ms. Bradford? Mr. Garvey? Mr. Guillo?
Present.
Mr. Guillo is present. Ms. Hill?
Present.
Ms. Hill is present. Mr. Lee? Mr. Lee?
Here.
Mr. Lee is present. Dr. Moranti? Dr. Moranti is present. Ms. Orange-Jones?
Present.
Mr. Romer?
Here.
And Mr. Wagasback?
Here.
Louisiana Teacher of the Year Representative Dr. Amy Weems is not present. You have a quorum.
Thank you. May I please have the first item?
Item 2.1, consideration of approval of Relay Graduate School of Educationer Practitioner Teacher Program, alternate path to certification. The recommendation is to approve.
Is there a motion?
I move approval.
Motion by Mr. Romer. Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Guillo. Is there any discussion on the topic?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Hill?
Superintendent White, you most likely can address this. According to the backup information that they gave us in reference to this organization, I just have some concerns and some questions. One of the things that we looked at that this program will provide alternative certification for teachers. And when you look at the partnership of the following schools and the systems that they are partnering with, KIP and some of these other schools, which are considered charter schools. Now, last year, the board approved that certification is not a requirement in the charter schools. So I'm trying to figure out why we're approving a program that's going to mainly serve these groups that is not required to have certified teachers. So could you please explain that to me?
I'm sorry, I don't quite understand. In other words, so there's not a requirement. You're right. There's not a requirement in the law, not at BESE, but in the law, for a teacher in a charter school to be certified. But that's not to say a teacher wouldn't want to pursue a certification.
No, I understand your point, but
Yeah.
my point of the matter is when you look at the budget and with all the cuts that we have had throughout districts, I'm looking at trying to approve a program that is not really necessary when we have other alternative certification programs throughout the state. So if these teachers really want to be certified, they can go to those other 3 programs that offer throughout the state to be certified when the funding can go into the districts where resources are truly really needed, like teacher development,
Fair
things
point.
of that nature.
Fair point. Now, remember, there's no funding from the state that's going to this specific program. In other words, if a teacher wants to pursue the cost of certification, they and their school may do that, but there's no cost that the state is putting toward this particular program or any other program. This is an institution that's been approved by the regents to provide a master's as an institution that's accredited to do that. And they're offering teachers the option to achieve teacher certification and as well as an MAT, a master's. And so we're simply extending that offer. I would say, for whatever it's worth, that the program has a tremendously good track record. And if it's something that can help our teachers be trained and equipped with their skills they need, then it seems like an opportunity they should have.
Okay, and I guess my next statement would be, I know the program only been in existence since 2010, we're only in 2013, but that's here nor there, that's not a point. But I guess my concern would be, well, how this company just out of New York say we just want to come to Louisiana and provide services for free for teachers? What would be their motive or their gain? I'm just trying to get an understanding, like, why would they do that if we're not going to fund the program? So they're just going to do this for free out of the kindness of their heart?
No, remember that, well, I don't know what their motivations are, as I don't know with anyone else, but I think that in this case, the revenue, as with any university, remember, we don't fund a university, the state doesn't, to provide programs for teachers. The teachers pay for it, and their schools or school systems have the opportunity to pay for it. That's no different from this. This is the exact same. Now, I would say this. You referenced the fact that they have operated in New York State. Last year, of the graduates who finished their program, literally 100% ended up passing the requisite assessments to become fully certified in that state, which I think is the highest achieving program in that state. So they do have a track record over the last 3 years, and I think we should welcome them as one of a variety of providers. If schools or school systems don't want to use them, then they don't have to. But this would just be one of and the regents have validated that by approving them as a program to offer a master's degree.
Mm-hmm. Those are my concerns.
Ms. Beebe?
Okay, I share Ms. Hill's concerns, particularly when we have numerous colleges and universities and teacher preparation program providers in the state. And I was also a bit concerned, certainly have great respect for the Board of Regents, for them to basically endorse this group as an out-of-state provider. And it is my understanding that this group will be the first out-of-state provider, so which leads to the question, do they follow the same curriculum as our colleges and universities are compelled to follow, or those outlined in Bulletin 746? And I noticed Dr. Burns is in the audience, and I would certainly hate to put her on the spot, but would certainly feel more comfortable if she could speak to some of the concerns specifically to the curriculum. You know, I mean, I don't know anything about this group. Are they, I mean, they could have basket weaving. Do they, I mean, do they have a specific curriculum? And as an out-of-state entity, how do we know, other than the Board of Regents has approved? But I'd like to have a little more information before I make my decision.
Sure, I'll be happy to respond, and then anyone else who has any information about it can, and I certainly welcome Dr. Burns' comment as well. Yes, they have to follow all of the same requirements as any provider by way of the Regents regulations for an MAT program, by way of our regulations for a teacher certification program. So they have to. Secondly, as you know, we have an accountability system in our state regarding providers of teacher preparation and looks at student outcomes. I would say not just based on in the other state where they've operated on the outcomes on the teacher preparation test, but also in terms of student achievement. The average graduate of this program who teaches reading in their first year, ELA or reading, gained 1.22 years when you measure using Fontes and Pinnell and DRA. So there is evidence that what they do works, but I think you're right. It's important that there be accountability. They'd be subject to the entirely same accountability provisions. And I don't know if please, Madam Chairman, I defer to you, but if there are other comments, I welcome them as well.
Sure, I will, Ms.
But I
Bovee,
didn't
would you like to?
finish. I haven't finished.
I'm sorry, I'm going to go to Ms. Bovee, then I'll come back to Ms. Beebe in a second. Do you have anything you'd like to contribute?
I was just curious about the, it talked about a number of people they anticipated would be interested, and I read that as though these are people in the New Orleans area. And so I'm interested in whether or not this is a satellite program. Are they going to have a campus there, or is this going to be available to teachers across our state? So
they have a New Orleans-based campus.
They do.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, obviously there needs to be some physical location. That's where their campus is based for now. But I would say that, you know, this state has a long history of looking at creative ways of certifying teachers that actually have demonstrated very strong outcomes in our accountability system for our preparation programs. And this would be one, and maybe if it leads to creative ways of doing things, that can be helpful to other institutions, and perhaps they could expand ultimately in the long run. I don't know what their specific plans are in the long run, but if they're successful, maybe we should consider asking them to do work beyond New Orleans.
Ms. Beebe?
And then again, the question is regarding the praxis exams. Are these individuals expected to pass praxis exams for admission?
They're expected to do anything that any traditional teacher does. This is a traditional teacher preparation program per the requirements of the state. So yes, absolutely.
Sure. It's traditional or alternate?
I'm sorry, it is alternate, but it is insofar as it provides a path to certification and a path to a master's. It is providing the same credentials, I should say, that any provider is providing.
But again, and I see Dr. Burns is preparing to make a statement, but I still have great concern, and going back to our slogan, Louisiana Believes, I question this. Because, I mean, the emphasis is on out of state, and I'm really getting fed up with the fact that as a state board, an elected body, and I want you, those of you who are elected, I want you to be reminded that we have to look in the faces of our constituents to say that obviously our colleges have failed us, our universities fail us, and the message from me is loud and clear. We don't do a good enough job in preparing for teachers or preparing students. So that's my point.
Mr. Lee, and then Mr. Roman.
I need to get a bit of clarity for my own use, if I could, from Dr. Burns. I'm of the impression, and I might not be accurate, that alternative certification has been growing over a period of years, and as it grows at the university level, I'm assuming that regular education programs are decreasing. Is that accurate or not? Do you think the regular ed programs are not quite as popular as they were prior to alternative certification?
Okay, and if it would be okay, I'd like to go ahead and respond to several of the different questions that I've heard thus far, because
And
I
can
think
you begin by just stating your name for the record?
my name is Jean Burns. I'm Associate Commissioner for Teacher and Leadership Initiatives for the Louisiana Board of Regents. First, in response to the question pertaining to our traditional and our alternate programs, when BESE put in place stronger certification requirements for undergraduate programs, you increased the rigor of the undergraduate programs. And we have seen a shift since redesign started, where we have a decreasing number of students coming out of traditional programs and an increasing number of students coming out of the alternate programs. To give you an example of the rigor, the undergraduate programs for elementary now require that teachers have courses in physics, chemistry, biology, and earth science, whereas in the past, prior to redesign, they just took courses in biology and earth science, but our content standards require teachers to have knowledge in all of the areas. Another example for the secondary programs, like in math, pre-redesign required 19 hours of math. Our redesigned programs now require 31 hours of math. So as I said, the traditional programs have more rigor in them currently, and we have seen an increase in the number of alternate certification completers coming out of the teacher preparation programs. In response to the questions pertaining to the Board of Regents approving Relay Graduate School of Education, the Board of Regents has in place a policy by which it approves out-of-state universities, and that's what has been approved. They have been approved to operate in the state of Louisiana as an out-of-state university. Now, we worked with the Department of Education in setting up our policy, and for anyone who prepares teachers in our state that are online or face-to-face, and they require clinical experiences, we require that the universities be regionally accredited, such in our state it's SACS, but there's regional accreditation for other portions of the country. And then we require that the programs be fully accredited by NCATE, which is the national accreditation for teacher preparation. That is now required of all out-of-state universities. And we have a number of out-of-state universities that have been approved to operate in Louisiana. This is not the first out-of-state university to be approved to operate within our state. We did check into, in addition to those two requirements, we do require that the out-of-state university submit information pertaining to other aspects of their university. So we did check into all of that as part of the Board of Regents. We do not review the curriculum because the out-of-state universities tell us that they are offering the teacher preparation curriculum that was approved in their state for teachers who are getting that type of degree. So for Relay Graduate School of Education, they have gotten approved in New York to offer a graduate Master of Arts in Teaching program, and we have approved them to be able to operate in our state, to offer that program, and then also to offer other courses. Now, it's my understanding with Relay Graduate School of Education, they do plan on offering a Master of Arts in Teaching, which they do have approval from the Board of Regents to operate in implemented in our state, but they're also planning on offering a practitioner-teacher alternate program. Now, the curriculum for that program is something that is reviewed by the Department of Ed, and it's reviewed by, and it's my understanding they've gone through a review process for that curriculum, but that's something that is approved by BESE. It's not something that the Board of Regents approves because of the fact that we do not examine the curriculum of out-of-state universities. That curriculum is approved by the states in which they got approved to offer those graduate programs. So I think at this point, part of this is approval for the Master of Arts in Teaching, plus for the practitioner-teacher program, and the practitioner-teacher program falls under the Department of Ed and BESE. That does not fall under the Board of Regents.
Thank you.
And just to put a point on this, I think it starts with, I go back to Ms. Hill's comment. In Orleans, most of the schools are Type 5 charter schools. There is not a certification requirement under the law. This is a proposal to have teachers who are seeking rigorous certification go through a program to gain that accreditation. It's a program where a huge percentage of the teachers come out effecting significant academic gains with their students. And frankly, their entrance requirement is a 3.0 GPA, which is a very, very high bar for any institution from an entrance perspective. So we're asking your approval on the basis that it's going above and beyond. It has a very selective bar, and it has a strong track record of academic results with children.
I have another question.
Ms. Hill, I'm going to thank you. I want to just recognize, thank you very much. Ms. Hill.
And Superintendent White, you probably can address this question. Listening to the speaker just now in reference to the curriculum now, BESE has guidelines, which is in Title 28, which is requirement for teacher certification, meaning that this is a policy that has been put in place by BESE that in order for teacher certification to take place, that we have to follow these guidelines. So I just wanted to make it for public record to make sure, according to this organization, are they following Title 28 requirements under the teacher certification?
Title 28 in the BESE regulations?
Correct, for teacher
yes.
certification?
Yes, yes.
Okay, because when I did my research on the program, there were some issues in reference to what we require as a board and what they offer does not line up together. So I just wanted to make it for a public record to hear you say that they do line up with Title 28 teacher certification.
They fully align with what is required as a teacher certification program in our state, yes.
Is there any more board discussion? Mr. Romer.
I appreciate the presentation from the Board of Regents, Ms. Burns, and I appreciate the questions. I really thought this was a fairly innocuous item because it provided additional opportunities for teachers to be trained in a program that has a very good track record. And I know it's easy to talk about in-state, out-of-state. I think it ought to be clear that it's not our role as BESE to limit opportunities for people. Sometimes those opportunities are in your hometown. Sometimes they're across the state. Sometimes they may be in another state. Sometimes they may be online. Look, our role is to provide opportunities for students and teachers to improve. And I could really care less what state they come from. It makes no difference to me if it helps train our teachers and prepare our students. Imagine if we applied that same logic when we go look for a football coach. Next time LSU looks for a football coach, should we say you only should hire a coach from Louisiana? I mean, I guess that's the logical next step. And I'm bringing this up only because I predict a theme today. And it's a theme I don't believe in. I believe our role, and I'll state it one more time, is to provide as many high-quality opportunities for our students and our teachers to be prepared, period. And that doesn't mean I protect anybody. No one's forced, let's be clear, No one is forced to go to this program. Not one person in this state is. It's a choice they make. And who knows why they may make it. The hours of operation may fit their needs better. Their location may fit their needs better. There could be any variety of reasons. But in a time when we have more and more mid-career professionals looking to the teaching profession for the first time, mid-career professionals changing jobs that want to enter the workforce as a teacher and as a certified and well-trained teacher, we ought to provide them as many opportunities as we can. And I don't believe it's the role of this board to determine, to make our decisions based on their geographic location. I'm not forcing anybody to go to this program. And I applaud the department for bringing it to us. And I hope it ends up serving teachers well in this state.
Ms. Beebe.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to say, to respond to Mr. Romer. Mr. Romer, ordinarily I would be open-minded and receptive to individuals from out of state, but the focus of this department, in my opinion, is on out-of-state individuals or entities. Here we're talking about an entity with about 3 years experience. Well, frankly, for me, that's not enough to tell me that it has a very effective program. And again, it's somewhat hypocritical to hear you say, or to emphasize, or to encourage someone to pursue certification when just about a year ago you adamantly said that certification doesn't matter. I rest my case.
I need to respond. I really need to respond. I don't want to go through all this. Certification is a choice, in my opinion, that these people would choose. I'm not telling anybody to go do this program. But there may be an individual out there that thinks this program will make them be a better teacher. And if so, I applaud them and I encourage them to go do it, as I would anyone. I don't think certification alone means you're a high-quality teacher. That's what I said. Certification alone does not mean high quality. However, can it contribute to the idea of a teacher being high quality? Yes, it can. And this program may do that. And as far as what we do for our state, let me tell you what we do for our state. We just approved a budget of $3.4 billion of state dollars going to local school systems to spend as they wish. And this program will be attended by teachers as they wish. It's a very novel concept, the idea of empowering individuals to make decisions on their own. And is one that this board should stand for and quit protecting a system that has not served our state or our kids well.
Keep talking.
If there's no more board comment, there are a couple of more public comments. Ms. Lois Adams. Yeah. Just a reminder, we'll have through 3 minutes for comment. Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning. As a retired teacher, with the first round of school takeovers by charters, thank you. I am concerned that the majority of the schools are populated by non-certified teachers. I would like to know how long this alternative certification program is, because it's not stated in any of the documents.
I believe it was a year-long program.
1 year.
1 year, yes.
Thank you. Mr. Marcus Fontenot. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Marcus Fontenot, and I'm a member of the executive staff of the Louisiana Federation of Teachers. First, I'd like to begin with this. This is a button that I wear, which proudly states that learning is more than a test score. And with that, the Louisiana Federation of Teachers and School Employees has questions regarding the validity and the true success rate of the Relay Graduate School of Education. Diane Ravitch, whom I'm sure you're all aware, is a historian of education, an educational policy analyst, and a research professor at New York University Steinhardt School of Culture, Education, and Human Development. And it's because of her thorough background with regard to research and education analysis, I can, and you may or may not agree, to refer her as an expert. Now, these are Ms. Ravish's words, and she states the following with respect to the Relay Graduate School of Education. She said, "This is a master's program that was created by 3 charter school chains to prepare teachers for work in charter schools. It is certainly not a traditional graduate school of education. There doesn't seem to be courses in cognitive development, child psychology, sociology of education, history of education, or varied pedagogical models and strategies. There is only one pedagogical strategy, and apparently it is the one that is best at raising test scores. And I say again, learning is more than a test score. Now, while we all want effective teachers, the best interest of our children is to have experienced teachers who have lots of training in the psychology of their students. And as mentioned before, right now, there are 3 alternate certification routes. There's the practitioner teacher program, certification only alternate program, and the master's degree alternate program. Now, the Relay program does not focus on the promotion or betterment of neighborhood community schools. And yes, Relay has already targeted partnerships with the following school systems or schools: KIP in New Orleans, First Line Schools, Collegiate Academies, Renew Schools, and the Louisiana Recovery School District. And KIP also, well, I should say, within their packet that's online, it has absolutely no data or evidence as to the success of this program in other states. So my question is, why is this a good fit for Louisiana? It also seems that the alternative certified teachers will be predominantly based or located, I should say, in New Orleans. And as asked earlier by Ms. Baffy, what about the rest of the state? And why are we always implementing good ideas without any evidence that they are good? And it appears that, you know, it's only in New Orleans
begin to
where, of
wrap it up.
course, I'm sorry?
Please begin to wrap it up.
Okay, sure will. As it appears that it's only in New Orleans where multiple variables of this giant experiment make it possible to skew any data for or against any one individual idea. So I ask again, what does Relay have to gain from joining or coming to this state? How are they funded? And when did the department begin speaking with them about this?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Lee Barrios.
Could I just respond?
Oh, yes.
I understand the politics on this. I understand some people like the charter schools politics and some people don't. But this to me seems very simple. A group of educators think they have a creative way of teaching teachers how to teach. They're doing it in one of our parishes. If other parishes want to get involved, they can get involved. The teachers don't have to do it. They choose to do it. This is their choice. This is their resources. Now, let's just talk to Mr. Fontenot's point. Of the class of 2012 at Relay Graduate School of Education, 98% achieved at least 1 year's worth of growth in student achievement. Of those teaching reading, they achieved an average reading growth of 1.22 years. For those teaching math, graduates outscored their wealthier peers in suburban areas. 86% of their students received a passing score, while in the wealthiest county in the state, only 73% of students received a passing score. And to the question of KIP, I know it's a buzzword, but we got to be real that the highest progress elementary and middle school in our state last year was a KIP school. So it just seems fairly simple that these are folks getting together trying to help teachers be better at their jobs. And I would ask that we view it as such in our comments.
Ms. Barrios, please identify yourself for the record.
Lee Barrios, retired teacher from St. Tammany, and I have nothing in my testimony about charters. Superintendent White, I did a little research, had to be a little bit because we don't get this agenda until a day or two before the meeting, but
it's posted 10 days before the meeting.
So I went to the website of Relay itself, and they had an article that they posted from Education Next, which was written by a reporter, June Kronholtz, a contributing editor of Education Next and reporter for the Wall Street Journal. Unbiased, I assume, since it was on their own website. I'll quote a part from it. It says, even Relay's admirers, it was written in fall of 2012, a few months ago. Even Relay's admirers concede that it's too soon to tell whether the model works. It's operating in just 2 cities, New York, where it's offering a master's degree for 206 students this year, that's 2012, and Newark, New Jersey, where so far it has state approval only to offer a 1-year teaching certificate and has enrolled 64. Relay's first class won't graduate until 2013. Philanthropies are still footing much of the bill. According to the article, it says Atkins, who is one of the board directors or person that runs the organization, said he expects Relay to be fully supported by tuition and client school fees in 3 or 4 years. For now, philanthropies are footing about $13,000 of the $35,000 2-year tuition bill. They do sell themselves as a 2-year master's degree program. Students pay about $4,500 with charter schools, federal grants, and subsidies making up the rest. Since it seems to funnel some of their students or TFA recruits from schools of business, there seems to be they seem to funnel money, and since we didn't have an opportunity to look at their IRA reports, but I would suspect that they do get some of their money from TNTP and TFA, both of which we fund in this state $1 million TFA each year, and there's a contract today to be considered for over $2 million to TNTP, Michelle Reese organization. It says that Relay has hired a research director, but Atkins says it may not open itself to independent researchers for another 4 years. As far as the information you gave Superintendent White about the success rate, it says here that reading progress can be assessed with any of 6 tests, but subject tests don't exist for all subjects and grades. Relay's handbook says that students instead can use tests they acquire elsewhere or even write themselves. I asked Verrilli, head of the Newark program, how Relay could analyze achievement among youngsters taking so many different tests. It wasn't an apples and oranges comparison, he said, but one between Macintosh and Golden Delicious. I asked that you not approve this and that we continue to assist and get our students from our already existing graduate schools in the state of Louisiana.
Thank you. Ms. Kanisha Nelson.
I'm a parent.
Good morning, Ms. Nelson. Just state your full name for the record.
Kanisha Nelson. I'm a parent of students in Orleans Parish that go to RSD schools. I truly have a problem when I hear you all throw around the word accountability, because for me and my community, we see no accountability when it comes to our kids in our schools. Another thing is, who will this benefit? Because if most of the schools in my neighborhood are charter and they don't have to have certified teachers, where are these teachers going? What neighborhoods are they going to? Because they definitely don't have to come to mine if the schools in my neighborhood don't have to be certified. So who is this enhancing?
I think any teacher who wants to take advantage of it and meets the requirements for admission. So in other words, I think all this is only offering additional training to the teachers in New Orleans. That's what this is offering.
So are the schools and the teachers here not, so basically what I'm hearing, the teachers that are taught here in New Orleans are not good enough for my children, so why are they in my neighborhoods?
No, absolutely not.
Because if you're constantly bringing people from out of state, that's what it's saying.
Well, remember
that the
now,
people here are not worthy of teaching our children.
This is for the people here. This is for people here. If it's
so
if
what,
it's, if,
what, what I'm basically trying to understand.
Would you mind if I finished? Thank you. It's if folks live here, then they can take advantage of this opportunity by their choice. They don't have to. It's additional training for people in New Orleans. That's all it is.
So the programs here are not, should I say, qualified enough for the teachers?
I think this is a different view.
Okay.
It's a program that offers training in the classroom rather than.
So this is more on hand.
I think so. Yes. Hands. Yes. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nelson. Mr. Darnell Tobias. Okay. No. Ms. Janet Tobias? No. Okay, it's not coming. Thank you. Is there any more board discussion on this item? Ms. Moretti?
I just have a question with regard to curriculum, because I know in our practitioner teacher programs, we do teach the educational psychology, the child and adolescent, classroom management, strategies. So in the practitioner teacher program curriculum for this program, will they go through and meet those curriculum requirements regarding the education courses?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've had as you know, Dr. Moranti, we've had alternative certification programs in the state for about 15 years, and this is one such program. They all have to meet those requirements as required by us, and for a master's as required by the Board of Regents. So they have to meet all those requirements.
Any more comment? I will just speak to the perspective being representing New Orleans, being very familiar with the landscape there, knowing the educators and knowing the challenges that many of our educators still face to do the important work of educating our children every day. And I will say the opportunity to have diverse choices as rigorous certification options is a critical component to teacher development and support. And so I think this answers the question for teachers who may be looking for this specific type of master's, for those who might be looking for this type of certification option. I'm certainly thankful to Mr. Romer for your framing earlier about our ability as a board not to limit choices. I think the educators of our city deserve the opportunity to have access to multiple providers to be able to provide them with adequate teacher development for our children. And that is important for the children of our city and the children of our state. I'll sort of second what Ms. Bofi said earlier. I'd like to figure out over time how to potentially think about how opportunities like this could be expanded across the state, particularly if this particular program has a track record. And I'd like to be able to, as a board, come back to that. But I do think, I again commend the department for even putting this in front of us, and I think for the educators in New Orleans, for those for whom this is the appropriate opportunity, then this is an opportunity that they'll work to take advantage of. With that,
I'd like a roll call vote.
We have a motion and we have a second, so I'll go ahead and request a roll call. Roll call
vote. The motion is to approve. Ms. Lottie Beebe?
No.
Ms. Beebe votes no. Ms. Bofi?
Yes.
Ms. Bofi votes yes. Ms. Bradford is absent. Mr. Garvey?
Yes.
Mr. Garvey votes yes. Mr. Guillot?
Yes.
Mr. Guillot votes yes. Ms. Hill?
No.
Ms. Hill votes no. Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Lee votes yes. Dr. Moranti?
Yes.
Dr. Moranti votes yes. Mr. Romer?
Yes.
Mr. Romer votes yes. Mr. Wagasback?
Yes.
Mr. Wagasback votes yes. Ms. Orange-Jones, do you care to vote?
I do, yes.
And your vote is yes.
My vote is yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Next item.
Your next item is item 3.1. This is found on page 3. Consideration of a report regarding the 7th Annual Cecil J. Pickard Symposium on Academic Excellence. The motion is to receive, and we do have a presentation by Mr. Denny Bond.
Is there a motion?
I move to receive.
Dr. Moranti, is there a second?
I second.
Ms. Bofi, and we have a presentation.
Yes.
Yes. Welcome. Please state your name for the record. You may want to talk a little bit further in.
My name's Denny Bond. I'm the immediate past chair of Dream Teachers, and appreciate the time to stop by this morning and talk about our upcoming event. I'm hopeful that everyone did receive the informational packet. I left about 11 of them to be able to let you guys take a look at and review. The event this year is scheduled for July 12th. We're expecting an outstanding attendance. This is the 7th annual. Some of you have attended in the past. We hope that we see all of you here in 2013. Again, the 25th of April is our Dream Teachers Board meeting, which is held over at LABI every quarter, and we'd hope that possibly some of you could stop by there and see how the organization works. We're doing extremely well. There's 2 paragraphs in here that I would like to read very quickly just so it brings everybody up to speed on exactly what it is we do. We are a all-volunteer 501c3 made up of the business, academic, and I guess you would say non-for-profit community. Dream Teachers is a nonprofit organization created by the private sector in 2006 to publicly recognize the best and brightest education professionals in the state. It is a unique private government partnership with the Louisiana Department of Education and the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education. The mission of Dream Teachers is to inspire excellence in education, enhance performance in the classroom, and to recognize and reward exceptional Louisiana educators. The rest of the information in here will certainly give you much more to learn about what it is we try to do. We think we're doing an extremely good job. On the back of the informational package, you'll see all of the folks that are involved with the advisory board. When we started in 2006 in terms of rewarding and recognizing our outstanding educators, to make sure that our Teacher of the Year goes to the National Teacher of the Year program, we weren't really, I would say, one of the top programs at that time. Last year, after our program was over in 2012, we learned that we're now one of the top 5 programs in the country, and we're not number 5. So I'm not sure where that puts us, but it was really good to hear that we're making some progress. And we're hopeful down the line to have a National Teacher of the Year from our state of Louisiana. It is a full statewide program. We're involved in other activities throughout the year, but our main emphasis is on the July 12th Cecil J. Picard Symposium on Academic Excellence. And we're in the process right now putting all the details together. I'd like to turn the program over to Jamie Fernberg, who's the current chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'll fill in a few blanks. Again, my name is Jamie Fernberg, chairman of the organization. Every year for the past 6 years, we have gone out and raised over $100,000 to support this event. That money is spent on providing meals for the event, expenses for the event, and $35,000 of that is awarded to our outstanding educators. This year we'll recognize 30 outstanding teachers, including the Teacher of the Year and Principal of the Year. In addition to the cash prizes, they also get other fabulous prizes, and I know one of your board members up there has had the opportunity to experience that. At the end of the evening, the Teacher of the Year will drive away in a brand new Mercedes-Benz, which is pretty nice, and there's also other cool prizes that go.
I understand the prizes have gotten significantly better each year.
Much better. Too bad.
I think I would rather not know what.
You don't want to know.
Then I'll hold back. And my time is almost up. So maybe not.
Disregard.
Not so easy to disregard.
I feel like I'm back in the hotel business.
There is no fire today. Last year, Dr. Amy Weems, who is also a member of this committee, got to make an appearance in an LSU football game. Holly, I believe you also had that opportunity. She threw out first pitch in an LSU game, and they get lots of other, fabulous prizes. This year, as Denny said, the event will take place on July 12th. It will start with a luncheon where we have a keynote speaker, Ron Clark. Ron Clark was the Disney Teacher of the Year. He founded a school in Atlanta called the Ron Clark Academy, and they made a movie about him. Perhaps you've seen it, The Ron Clark Story, starring Matthew Perry. So he's a very dynamic speaker. He jumps on chairs and tables and really gets people fired up about education and things in general. We've been working hard with the Department of Ed, with Annie and Miley and Hannah. We appreciate all the support that we received from the department. We hope you'll make it out. For more information about our organization, you can go to dreamteachers.org. There's a special button up in the right-hand corner. It says Donate. And we'd be happy for you to click on that, and we could add your name to the list of contributors. We appreciate your support. We appreciate the support from the Department of Education, and we appreciate the hard work of all the educators in Louisiana, and we thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there any board? Superintendent?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Superintendent?
I want to, first of all, thank both of you and thank Dream Teachers generally. I think one thing, for those of you who have been in the state in education for some time, I find myself taking for granted that organizations like this exist, and really of the goodwill of the people who are involved. And most states don't, am I right? Most states don't have an organization like Dream Teachers as I've surveyed it. So I want to thank you, and I also want to thank you because one thing that they didn't mention, but that you've really gone out of your way to do, is to work with our priorities of the new standards for students and the new standards for educators. And so we're very tightly aligned with Dream Teachers in our program as well. And so I thank you so much for working with us and doing that very hard work. So fantastic partnership.
We'll see you this year, right, Superintendent?
You will see me this year. You'll see me this year.
Ms. Bophy?
I also want to echo how much I appreciate the work you guys do on a volunteer basis. And I know that the football game was something that we added in my year of recognition, and then you've added the baseball game since. And I just want people to think about what that does for children in the audience and the way that it helps people look at and think about the teaching profession. And so when I was at LSU, I didn't know that we had a state teacher of the year. And if it wouldn't be for Dream Teachers, I think there would be a lot of people who still wouldn't know that we have a state teacher of the year program. And so the visibility that you guys are bringing for the teachers who are being recognized, which I think is incredibly important, but even more importantly for the profession itself. And so I want you guys to know how much I appreciate what you do. I was in a school visit yesterday, and the one thing that I was thinking about is that we just can't do enough for the people who give so much to their students. And so I appreciate you guys and the role you're taking to make sure that we're doing something. And it makes me really proud because I know that Louisiana does have one of the best recognition programs in the state. And so also want people to understand how important it is for our teachers that we are recognizing, for allowing them to come together and meet with each other through the symposium, and what that does in terms of giving people an opportunity to connect and to collaborate. Some of the most important people in my life are people that I've met through our Louisiana State Teacher of the Years, and then also the State Teachers of the Year that I've gotten to know on a national level. And so I think by helping making sure that those connections happen is really important. And I won't forget, when I think it was Carol Price that told us that she got a phone call, or maybe it was someone else, that she got a phone call and a plaque, but didn't get all of this recognition. So thank you so much for what you do to for the profession.
Mr. Lee.
Having attended the event annually, I'd have to say it's a exciting evening. It's good for not only the honorees, but everybody in attendance. And I know it takes lots of effort to put it on, in addition to the finances, but you folks do it well. And on behalf of education, I want you to know that we appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Makes a difference.
Means a lot.
Well,
Mr. Roman?
I just want to echo what Mr. Lee said. The effort you guys put in and the tremendous amount of work it takes to recognize high-quality teachers is fantastic. And probably you don't get enough recognition for how hard it is to do what you do. And we appreciate you doing that on behalf of the teachers. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chad.
Thank you. Thank you for the report. Thank you for everything you do.
thanks.
Next item. Oh, wait, I have a motion and a second. Does the motion to receive? Any opposition? The motion passes. Next item.
Our next item is item 4.1 on page 11. Consideration of a records review regarding the issuance of a Louisiana teaching certificate appropriate to the credentials of Mr. Desmond Hammett. We need a motion from this board to grant or deny the issuance of a Louisiana teaching certificate.
Is there a motion?
I move.
You move
Yeah.
to grant or deny?
To grant.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'm sorry.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. I believe the individual is here.
Okay, that was my
Okay.
question.
Yes.
I would like before,
Okay.
oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Just state your name for the record, and then we'll get.
Good morning. My name is Desmond Hammond.
Thank you. Mr. Romer?
No, I appreciate you being here today. I recognize that you weren't able to make it previously, and you notified us of that, and I appreciate it. And reading through the item that tagged you for this particular thing seems to be related to a speeding ticket. I know you had a previous, but the item that actually got you here today, is that correct? Am I right on that?
I can answer that if you don't mind.
Okay.
He had a previous conviction expunged from his record, and we've had this discussion before that the applicants need to disclose that. And if applicants do disclose that, or when they disclose it, it will automatically be denied as well. It would be considered a conviction, and they would have to come before the board. So it was that flagged it.
And may I ask, did you notify us that in fact that was the case? Or,
Yes, sir.
I know it's a bit confusing sometimes on whether you should check that box or not. You
Yes,
had?
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And the subsequent event that was listed here, was that the speeding ticket?
Yes, sir.
Really
It's a
related to
speeding
the speeding
ticket.
ticket?
Yes,
Is that
sir.
what the record reflects?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I would support granting the certification.
Okay. Is there any other board questions or comments? Mr. Waxback?
Thanks for being here today.
Yes.
If you wouldn't mind, maybe just expand a little bit on why it's important for you to teach, why it's important for you to be in the classroom.
At this point, listening to a number of the topics with certification this morning, I think one big thing for me is the students that are coming up in present-day society. Some of the parishes, some of the communities in which the kids need positive role models, need to see someone that can be a motivating factor they can relate to. This is a big thing for me. I just want to be of service and of use to the students. I think at this point in my life, giving back and some of the challenges I see in our communities, it would be a great asset for me just to see some of the growth and some of the students that we serve as educators in the state of Louisiana. I'm at this great organization now. I'm a member of Omega Psi Phi fraternity, and we do a lot of work with the students, and to see some of the young men that we inspire to go to schools to pursue education. Some use sports and athletics as an outlet, as a pipeline, but to guide them in a way that we can give positive feedback, motivation, and inspire those kids to do greater things is one of the biggest sellers for me to become an educator in the state.
I would just say I appreciate you sharing a little piece of that with the board today. I know we see a lot on paper sometimes, but it's good to hear the heart of someone who wants to join what I think everyone here would agree is the most noble profession there is in public service. And so, and I would just add that I think personally that every experience we encounter in life shapes us as a person.
Yes, sir.
And it also gives us a great opportunity to use that to better guide the next generation. And so I applaud you for wanting to be in the classroom, and I'm glad to hear that you recognize the not only the opportunity but the burden and the challenge to be in the classroom and shape the future generation of the state. So thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any more? Ms.
I
Beebe?
just want to thank Mr. Hammett for being here today, and also to offer my condolences. I know the last meeting we heard the news that your mother passed away, so
Thank you, ma'am.
Please accept my condolences.
Thank you for being here. So there is a motion on the floor to grant. Is there any opposition to that motion? The motion carries. Before we adjourn, I'd like to just take a moment of personal privilege and recognize Orleans Public Education Network, OPEN, who is here today. Members of our New Orleans community are visiting as part of a Day at the Capitol initiative. We're just very excited that you're here, and I wanted to just take a moment and recognize and welcome you all here today. Thank you for being here.
Ms. Jones, I'd like to also take
Sure.
a point of
Ms.
personal
Hill.
privilege. I would like to congratulate Miss Beebe, who's now Dr. Beebe, So she'll be graduating next month with her doctorate degree in education. So I just thought that I'll make that note so the board to congratulate you on all your hard work and that God bless you in all your endeavors.
Thank you, Ms. Hill.
Congratulations. Board members, I've taken the privilege of just passing out some information on the open agenda, more information. It's a wonderful organization out of New Orleans, and we're just really thrilled to have them here today. Thank you very much. There is a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And there's a second. We're adjourned.